You need to exchange your Swiss franc for foreign currencies and you're wondering what are the best solutions available. I will provide you with an overview of the current solution available so you will be able to choose the best solution for your needs. Hello, my name is Sebastian and this is a real pleasure to welcome you on my channel. If you're living in Switzerland, then it is very likely that you will need some foreign currencies. I can give you a few examples, like you are living in Switzerland, close to the border, to France, Italy or Germany, then you may want to cross the border just to go for your shopping or maybe for a nice meal because the cost of living is way cheaper than Switzerland. Or maybe your kids have just decided that Swiss school were not good enough for them and they want to go abroad to study. So for example, they're going to the US, so you need to buy some US dollar and sell your Swiss franc in order to pay for their school fees. Or more simply, you're just about to retire and you want to go to Spain. You've always dreamed to buy that beautiful house in the south of Spain and you will need to buy some euros just to buy this beautiful house. The solution that I will provide to you in this video should allow you to decrease your exchange fees by roughly 1 to 1.5% if we compare it with the fees by the regular banks. So I do agree that 1% on a small amount, it just doesn't make any difference. But if you start exchanging higher amount, I would say it start becoming interesting from 10,000 Swiss franc, where 1% would represent 100 Swiss franc. 100 Swiss franc, that's still a good meal, or you can invest it in the stock market. So I think it's worth it. And sometimes it may happen you don't want to carry too much cash on you and you want to pay with a card because it's a little bit more convenient. So I've made a video that you can watch on the description right above, and it will show you what I believe are the best cards if you're traveling abroad. In my analysis, we'll take into consideration someone that needs to exchange 5,000 Swiss francs every month, and I will compare that the foreign exchange rate we will have with every provider with the interbanking foreign exchange rate. The interbanking foreign exchange rate is a rate at which the biggest bank exchange with each other on a daily basis. So the first option, so in this option, we will take the FX rate from a big bank, a multinational bank, which is UBS. So here you will need a bank account in Swiss franc, where you have your Swiss franc, and then you will also need a bank account in euros when you will send the Swiss franc to your account in euros. So here they will take a markup of 1.7% above the market rate, which is really huge. That would represent 1,020 Swiss francs a year. So I think that's a real pity to give that money to your bank. So I would not recommend using UBS. It can sometimes be useful if you need to send some like minor or exotic currencies, such as the Thai baht. That can be a little bit more handy if you don't have that money available with other provider. Second option, so you will need to go to your local bank. You will withdraw some cash at the ATM and you will carry your physical cash to a foreign exchange counter and they will apply the foreign exchange counter rate. So I've taken the rate from Bank Micro Exchange Rate, which is one of the most efficient in terms of physical cash, and they apply a markup of roughly 1.3%. That would represent 780 Swiss francs a year. So that's still not the best option, but it can be useful if you really need to carry some cash with you. Otherwise, I would not recommend this option. Third option, so you will send your Swiss franc to an online Swiss payment company. When they receive your cash, you will also tell them in which bank account to send the euros back, and they will apply a small markup of roughly 0.4 to 0.5%. This is, I believe, one of the best option you have in Switzerland. It will take you 1 day to process the payment, and the only drawback I would say is that they only offer a small amount of currencies. You can usually find the dollar, Japanese yen, maybe the euros of course, but you may not find some of the most exotic currencies. Here are some of the services that they provide to you. So it's really handy for people who are transport worker living in France, Italy, Germany, and they receive a salary in Swiss franc. So they can automatically send the salary in Swiss franc to this payment company, and they will apply the daily foreign exchange rate and send it back to you in euros. The main drawback with that is that you don't really know what's the daily rate of today, so it might be very bad FX rate, so you may not be really happy with that foreign exchange rate. So what you can do, you can also make an agreement with them. You will keep your Swiss franc, you will ask them before sending your Swiss franc, what is the foreign exchange rate? And then you can send your money and they will give you the exact amount of euros that you have agreed with them before sending your cash. And one other service they provide, you can also make the payment for your invoices. In Switzerland, there are two main companies offering such services. The first one is B-SHARPE and the second one is IBANI. So at B-SHARPE, it will start at roughly 0.5%, and IBANI, it will start at roughly 0.4%. But of course, the fees will decrease if you're sending higher volume. So in terms of fees, IBANI seems to be a little bit cheaper. IBANI also offers a personalized IBAN, so it can be a little bit more useful if you need to send your IBAN to your employer. Otherwise, in terms of customer experience, I feel that B-SHARPE was way better because I have a little bit of issues and discussion with IBANI, but they didn't really reply to me. Fourth option, you will send your Swiss franc to an online foreign payment company. So when you're sending your Swiss franc, then you will tell them in which bank account they need to send your euros, and they will do it automatically. The only big issue you need to bear in mind, since they're abroad, your payment may take one extra day if you compare with the Swiss online payment companies, and also they may take extra fees since you're dealing with foreign banks. That will cost you roughly 0 to 0.4% depending on the provider. If we compare those services with the Swiss alternative, they will offer much more currencies, they will also give you a card, and you will also have access to extra features. So there are two main companies. The first one is TransferWise, so they apply a markup of roughly 0.4%. And the second one is REVOLUT. I feel that the pricing system of REVOLUT is a little bit more complicated, but if you're a little bit smart, you can really decrease your cost of foreign exchange. So you need to be aware that with REVOLUT, it's entirely free if you use it during the weekdays, up to an amount of 1,000 Swiss franc, roughly 1,000 Swiss franc. If you go above that threshold per month, then it will cost you 0.5% on the amount which is above that threshold. And you also need to know that they apply extra markup on the weekends. It is roughly 1%. It can be even more if you're using exotic currencies. They have a premium arrangement. It costs you roughly 100 Swiss franc. And if you pay that, it will increase your threshold. So instead of having a threshold during the weekdays of roughly 1,000 Swiss franc, you can increase it to, I think it's roughly 5,000 to 6,000 Swiss franc. And then everything is free up to that threshold for only 100 Swiss franc a year. So I think this package can be really interesting for some of you. So between TransferWise and REVOLUT, I kind of prefer REVOLUT because it has much more features. It also, if you're smart and you can use the foreign exchange rate during the weekdays, then you can get it for free, or you can get a premium package for 100 if you're using more transaction. The only main advantage of TransferWise is I feel that they're mostly focused on payments, and I also feel that they have better reviews from their customer, so they may be better at dealing with customer requests. Before mentioning my favorite option, please consider subscribing to the channel if you like the content. The fourth option, you will need to open a brokerage account with Interactive Brokers, which is my favorite brokers for Swiss residents. I've made a video so you can check it right above. It will require you to do everything by yourself. So what are you going to do? You will send your Swiss franc to Interactive Brokers. Once received, you will do yourself the transaction to sell Swiss franc to euros. And here, that's why it's very interesting because they charge very low fees. They only charge you like $2 per transaction. So a year that will cost you $12. And the markup of market rate is just insignificant. So I've taken no fees for that. And then once you have euros, then you will make a withdrawal request. So it's free. You have one withdrawal request per month in your Euro bank account. And you will receive your euros in about 2 to 3 days. So it's a little bit slower. But if you can make all the manual transaction, if you can wait 2 to 3 days, I believe that is the best option. And that's the option that I use personally for my transaction. So I don't want you to make any mistake because there will be a lot of manual steps. I will show you right now how to make the transaction by yourself. I would recommend using the online version. Don't use the mobile one. So you will go on portfolio and then you click on cash report. The first step, you will deposit some funds. So you're going here. You need to create a new deposit method. So in here, in my example, I will be sending dollar. So I have a bank account in dollar and I'm sending dollar to my Interactive Brokers account. Once you have done your payment, you need to wait for 1 or 2 days. So either you're waiting for your funds, I think that's the best way for beginners, or if you're more advanced, there is a way, I believe you need to have a margin account and you can sell, you can buy euros and sell your dollar, for example, before receiving the dollar. So in my case, we'll just wait for the funds. They're just received. I've sent $2,557. And now I want to convert them into 2,000 euros. So you will go and convert currency. You will write you want some euros. You say that you have some dollar in your account. You want to buy, you need 2,000 euros. And then I will click on submit, accept, done. So you can see now that I have 2030 cents. I've mentioned that I wanted to have exactly 2,000 euros, but if you send dollar and I wanted to exchange the entireness of this balance, so I could have said I want to exchange my $624. So let's see how it works. You will click here. You would say you have dollar, you have 622. So there you are. And then it will tell you will receive 643 euros, but I will not do it. I don't need that amount. I only need 2,000 euros for my payments. And then the next step, you will click on withdraw funds. You will need to create a new withdrawal method, which will be your bank account in euros where you will receive the funds. Once you have created it, you will click on your payment method. Once done, you will click on your withdrawal method, and then you will write that you require 2,000 euros. You are allowed to make one free withdrawal every month, and you click on withdrawal. And there you are, you've sent 2,000 euros to your bank account, and it will take you roughly 2 to 3 days. There is a second way, so you can go directly in here. You will click euro dollar, here, euro USD, there. Okay. And there you can directly buy, you can write you want 2,000 euros. So it means your euro dollar, you will buy 2,000 euros and you will sell dollar. So you can here, you will use market and submit by order. Just be careful. This way is a little bit more advanced. I would not recommend doing it if you don't have much experience, because it depending on your account, you may have negative balance. I could be buying too many euros and then I would have a negative US dollar balance. So just be careful with that. Don't use it if you're not very familiar with interactive brokers. Just do the first way that I've shown you previously. That should be enough. 6 options. You are going to enter a forward agreement contract with your local bank, where you're going to lock in your foreign exchange contract over the next few months, over the next year. It depends on you and your bank, since you can do a personalized contract. Forward contract are usually integrating 2 kind of costs. The first one, this is a cost from your bank. Since it is a personalized contract, they need to meet you in person, they need to explain the risk, they will take an extra fees for that. And then there's an interest rate differential fees. It's not really a fee, but I will call it a fee just to be more simple. So let's make a small example. Let's say that euro has interest rate of 4% a year and Swiss franc has interest rate of 1% a year. So we'll take the difference between those 2 rates, which is 4 less 1, which is 3%. So they will basically integrate a fees of roughly 3%. It's not going to be exactly those 3%. There is a complex formula, but it will come back to that, roughly that amount. But you can also go the opposite way. Let's say you have interest rate of 1% in euro and 4% in Swiss franc. Then in this instance, you would get a positive fees of 3%, those 4 less 1. If you are entering in such contract, you really need to make sure that you know the direction of your currencies, because after that, if you want to cancel this contract, you will need to pay some penalties. And if the currency goes in the wrong direction, then you also make losing money. So my favorite solution are interactive brokers. You just need to make sure that your local bank allow you to open an account in USD or euros if you need to receive such currencies. So you're able to send those currency back to your local bank, and from your local bank you can withdraw at the ATM, or you can make other transfer back to your provider or anyone. My second preference would be REVOLUT. You just need to make sure that you're doing all your transactions during the weekdays, as it is entirely free. And if you need to go above a certain threshold, if you need to make big amount of transactions, then I would recommend you buy the premium package. And REVOLUT will also provide you with a card, which can be really handy if you need to travel abroad.